Greetings, everyone. DFG here. Hey, guys. I know you haven't heard from me for a week or two, right? Like that's a long time. But hey, I just wanted to take a moment and just keep you current, keep you updated on what's going on. With your government, our government. And as you guys know, I've spoken about this subject on more than one occasion, and I'll continue to talk about it because I think it's just that important, and that is, what is going on with gun control legislation. And I know many of you believe that, that this is not a bipartisan issue. That this is more of, the liberals who are normally your Democrats who are after the guns, and so you've got a struggle between, a political struggle. But that's not true, guys. It's a bigger, you know, um, I'm going to use the word conspiracy going on here. It's a lot bigger than that. And some of you guys may have heard, and I'm going to read an article to you from former Congressman Ron Paul. And Ron Paul has a program called the Liberty Report that's normally a daily broadcast where he kind of keeps, those who want to know current on, different, social issues, government issues as related to what's happening, with your government officials, your Congress, obviously, the President of the United States, not only domestic issues, but international issues. But that said, I just want to let you understand again just how serious these individuals are around disarming you and taking your guns away. And they're using these incidents, with these school shootings, as justification to do this. And I'm not going to go as far as to imply that these shootings, are something beyond, what they are. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say these are just deranged individuals, who have, somehow lost their way, and quite frankly should have never ended up with guns in the first place. And I'm only doing that in respect to the fact that those victims and individuals who have lost loved ones in these shootings, because regardless of who's behind the shootings, these shootings, the loss of lives, that's real. And it's no way that I would ever, put myself in a position, to marginalize the tremendous loss that these families have experienced with these shootings. And as a father who has lost a child, what I'm saying, I understand, the impact that could have on any family. Okay? But that being said, let me, read this to you, just so you can understand. This is both sides, that old saying, it's the two horns on the same bull. This is what you're dealing with as it relates to your government in terms of gun confiscation. So if you bear with me, I'll try to read this as fast as I can. All right, Ron Paul, and this is in, Ron Paul, Republican Democrats teaming up for federal gun confiscation bill. A source inside the U.S. Senate has reported that Republicans and Democrats are teaming up and using the recent tragedy in Texas as an impetus to push through massive federal gun control bill. And it goes on to say, in an email Tuesday night, former Congressman and presidential candidate Ron Paul released an ominous statement claiming that a source they have in the Senate revealed Democrats are teaming up with Republicans to push through a massive gun control bill. According to their source, as Paul explained, Senators Marco Rubio, Republican Florida, and Lindsey Graham, Republican South Carolina, are teaming up with Dianne Feinstein, Democrat California, to ram through one of the worst nationwide gun confiscation schemes ever devised. The gun confiscation bill, according to Paul, is designed to disarm Americans without any due process. The senators are using the recent tragedy shooting in Texas as the impetus behind the law, in spite of the fact that this law would not have prevented the shooting at all. As the Free Thought Project has previously reported, some states have already begun implementing laws like this one. Using mass shooting as their ammunition, states have enacted red flag or risk protection laws which allow police to confiscate a person's weapon before they are given any chance to defend themselves. And both the gun confiscation cases reported by the TFTP, neither of the two men were suspected of committing a crime nor had committed a crime. Under the 5th and 14th Amendments, due process clauses are in place to act as a safeguard from arbitrary denial of life, liberty, and property by the government outside of the sanction of the law. What's more, neither of the two men were granted their Sixth Amendment rights to be confronted with the witness against them. In both cases, simple orders under new laws were issued arguably arbitrarily, which stripped these men of their property. In spite of what officials and the media claim, when a person is stripped of their constitutional rights, albeit temporarily, without being given a chance to make their own case based off of what can be entirely arbitrary accusations, this is a removal of the due process. As Ron Paul explains, this removal of due process could soon be a federal law. To be clear, no one here is advocating for people determined to be mentally unfit to be able to process firearms. However, they need to be determined to be mentally unfit before they lose their rights. To those who may be in favor of such laws, consider the following. There is no way to stop an estranged spouse from calling police repeatedly and telling them that their ex is threatening to cause harm to others. While the man in Florida had his guns taken for being psychologically unfit, the man in Seattle simply open-carried a pistol and looked out of windows, and his guns were taken because the neighbors thought it was strange. Anyone at any time now has the ability to claim someone else is a threat and have the police take their guns. One does not have the need to devolve into a multiple what-if scenarios to see what sort of ominous implications arise from such a practice. What's more, police in some states now have the power to deem you a threat at any time and legally disarm you. Due process be damned. And I'm saying to you guys, and this is serious, and I hope that you guys are understanding the undercurrent of why this is happening. This is not about as much as gun legislation or confiscation as much as power. You know, I was doing some research just recently, and there's a book called Guns, Germs, and Steel. You need to take it, if you can't get the book, or you get the summary of the book. And what it does, it talks about how governments rule people. And the first thing in a government where a government is trying to rule and take away the rights of the people, the first thing they do is disarm the people, but arm the government. Then after that, it's about entertaining you, keeping you entertained, about feeding you, taxing you, pushing religion on you, a state-sponsored religion on you, I might add, to make sure that you are conforming to whatever that government mandate is. In essence, you become serfs, they become kings and the elite. So if you sit back and you don't respect what these engaged men who only want to protect your rights as a United States citizen to bear and keep arms, if you continue to walk away and not speak out, let your voice be heard, don't be surprised that their day will come where they'll be kicking your doors in and confronting you and taking away your Second Amendment rights. And like I said before, you know, all of the other Bill of Rights are intact, and the one right that's intact to keep those Bill of Rights intact is that Second Amendment. Okay? So again, what can I say outside of be honest with you about it? You know, this is not about, you know, hatred. This is not about, you know, irresponsible gun ownership. This is not about criminals having weapons. This is about citizens having a right to protect themselves and also a responsibility to make sure that your government is held accountable for the way it treats you as a citizen of these United States. If you lose that right, then you have a tyranny, you have a government of at best, socialism, at worst, communism, and all you got to do is go back and check some history and find out what happened to peoples who governments, including what happened in Nazi Germany, including what happened in Stalin's Russia, including what happened, you know, in Idi Amin's Uganda, and I can go on and on and on, what happened to those citizens when the military was able to go in and not only arrest people who were considered enemy combats, you know, but anybody who they felt was a threat to their governments had them taken out and assassinated. This is a fact. Okay? So Now you know, DFG. Hey, I hope you're listening while we still have time. Thanks, guys. Bye now.